A linear combination. Having used the Euclidean algorithm to find the greatest common divisor of two integers, it's possible to make the algorithm and retrace the steps to arrive at a linear combination and figure out what x and y would be worth, or s and t, or whatever they give you. Okay, when we know that it equates to the greatest common divisor, that will mean nothing to you until you try it. So let's have a look. If you were seeing a question that had the two numbers and x and y, all we're going to do first of all is go through the same process you have just done. So we'll put the largest number to the left-hand side and we'll see how many 1,260s you can get out of it. I'm not putting the arrows in this time. I'm going to bring the 1,260 and the 175 down. Okay, so you can use your calculator and check these out. I'm just showing you this part. In this part you should feel quite comfortable with. Bring the 175 down, and you know that when you get to 0, that actually the common divisor is here, so it's 35. So you know that the greatest common divisor between these is 35, and you know that you're trying to represent the greatest common divisor in this. That bit is worth 35. So we're going to use that in a moment. If we go to the part that we know the greatest common divisor is, then in the next slide I'm going to show you how I'm going to retrace my steps. But when you have the remainder is 0 and you know the greatest common divisor is 35, we're going to rearrange and use this skill and work back. Okay, so we're always going to start at the one above the 0 and think about how to rearrange this. Why? Your whole objective is to represent your 2695 and your 1260 as something to do with 35. And they're in the top line, so you have to work back up to that top line to be able to do that, okay? So this is what we have just done. So what's the next thing we're going to do? The next thing we're going to do is look at that 35. And if you remember, I said we're going to start from that top line there, okay? So if we start from the top, sorry, not the top line, if we start from the one above this 0, then what I'm going to do is, I've done this the wrong way, I'll pull this over here, okay? You have to represent this as 35. So to get 35 alone, you keep the 1260 on that side and you take over the 7 lots of 175. So your first line is actually going to be 35 can be represented by 1260, take 7 lots of 175. When you've used this line, you put a little tick just so you know that you've done it, because you could have 5 or 6 lines, and then you go to the next one above. So what I've done so far is I've got 35 and I've managed to represent it in these two numbers, but I need to finish off with them only in these numbers. So I'm going to go up here and now I'm going to get 175 and represent it with these. So 175 would be 2695. Take off 2 lots of 1260 and it's going to slot in here. What did I do there? I started off with 35 and rejigged this so that 35 was alone. And then once I've done that, I go to the next line up and then I rejig that so 175 is alone and it goes in here. After that, I'm just going to open this up. Dot means times, so 7.26 is 7 lots of those. And minus 7 times minus 2 turns to plus 14. What's your signs? Click together, you've got 14 lots of 126 there and one more there, so you get 15 of them. Okay. To finish off, you need 2695 times x. Well, you'll see 2695s here, so all I'm going to do is rejig it so it's 2695s at the front and 126 was to the right of it. So that means that if you have wrote it that way, then you've got minus 7 lots of 2695 and 15 lots of 126. You can see where x and y are. So if the greatest common divisor is 35 and you're asked for this format, then you should know what your x and your y's were, and you've solved it. The x is beside the 2695. You don't need to rewrite it that way, it's just nice, but if you want the x, it's beside it. I could have said it was minus 7 up there. I've just wrote it there so it's in the same format, and beside 126 was your y. Okay. Okay, it's obviously that was a lot to take on, so let's do it again. This time it's got an S and a T, it doesn't matter the letter, start with 424. So how many 132s are in it? 3 with 28 left over. Again, use the calculator, bring the 132 down, and then you have a remainder of 20. Bring the 28 and the 20 down. That's a bit easier to see. Bring the 20 and the 8 over. And then lastly, the 8 and the 4 have a nice remainder of 0. So the greatest common divisor of them is 4. What do you do next? We're going to work backwards, and this is where I said you've got lots to do. So you need to start at the line above 0, remember? So we're going to start at 4. So how do you represent 4? 4 will be 20, take 2 lots of 8. So we're going to rearrange as we go. So what I'm going to do is tick them with different colours. And my objective is to represent the greatest common divisor is 4. I'm going to have 132 and 424 in my final answer. So I'm going to work all the way back up to here. Okay. Simplify each line as you go before you go to the next one up to tick, because otherwise guaranteed you'll make a mistake. So this is what we have done a moment ago. Let's start working back. So we're going to start from here. So 4. 4 is 20, take 2 lots of 8. I put a tick there because I've used it. I don't normally put a tick here. I've just done that to show you which one it relates to. So now I've dealt with that, we go to the line above. How can you represent 8? 8 is 20, take 1 lot of 20. So in a bracket, we have that. Notice I've ticked because I've dealt with that. Do not go to the next line, sort this out. So that's 20, take 2 lots of 28, minus 2 times minus 1 is plus 2. So you end up with 2 lots of 20 plus another 20, 3 lots of 20. Now go to the next line. How can you represent 20? 20 is 132, take off 4 lots of 28. Be careful to substitute it in where 20 is. Let's open it up before we go. 3 lots of 132 minus 12, remember to multiply. Bring together, you've got minus 12 minus another 2, you've got minus 14. Now we'll go to the last line. How do you express 28? 28 will be 424, take 3 lots of 132. And now let's put it in. So I'll put the ticks there so you can see which one it goes with. Okay, so we've got 3 lots of 132 minus 14 lots of 424, minus is plus, and you end up with 42. Click together, you've got 42 and 3 more, you've got 45. Okay, so the greatest common divisor was 4, and you were to write it in this format. So it means that 132s and 424t should equal 4. So you have then associated it with this because that equals 4, because what you've done is started from here and managed to manipulate it back into the 2 numbers you needed. That means what is beside 132 is worth s, which is 45, and t must be minus 14. What's your signs? Okay. You're going to try now. So in Scholar, page 193, 45 to 49, and the review section, I've got them all here. So it's up to you if you want to go through this. You'll need to go and find the answers anyway. There is some more maths and action practice, but we don't have that available just now. But they are here in your PDF. They're maybe not as pretty. I've just condensed them here so that they're all in the same parts. But if you want to, you can use these. Otherwise, go to these questions. Okay? And that's you.